So will it ever end? And probably not in my career with Federal Highway. I've got maybe a year or two left, but it's amazing where it's gone over the past 28 years. I don't see an end to SEP 14. We're going to keep it alive as long as we need to. As long as states want to experiment with something that's not allowed by our statutory and regulatory policy, we will allow them to use this technique. Have we ever said no? Has an idea ever been so wacky that Federal Highways would say, no, you can't do that? Anybody? Any of the Federal Highway people? Just two examples. Florida DOT back in the 90s came up with a concept from South American country called bid averaging. Concept was you took bids on a regular construction contract, you averaged the bids, and the bidder closest to the average got the contract. We didn't feel it was competitive. The thought was that they didn't want the lowball bid, they didn't want the high bid, they want a reasonable bid that was close to an average bid. So they wanted to implement this technique called bid averaging. We actually said no to that because it wasn't transparent, it wasn't fair, it was like buying a lottery ticket. So Federal Highways does say no occasionally. Even at the headquarters level. We're known for saying yes, but sometimes we do say no. And there was another project that came up in, I want to say Kentucky in the early 90s, where they shortlisted 5 contractors, they had 5 projects, and then they would give contracts out as things progressed to the 5 contractors that were shortlisted. And we didn't feel that was competitive either, but be that as it may, those were the 2 instances that I can recall that we did say no. But the program is alive, and if TDOT wants to come up with something that hasn't been thought of before, we would certainly be receptive. Just got an email this morning from Michigan. They're looking at a way to provide a procurement advantage for prime contractors that support the OJT program and consistently use and have graduates of the OJT program. So people always have these innovative ideas coming up, and as long as they're reasonable, transparent, and fair, we'll consider these under SEP 14. Any questions about SEP 14? Yeah, I understand there might be some interest in IDIQ or JOC here in the state, and I hope so. Hopefully with this administration, we'll probably operationalize it in the next coming months, at least the competitive bidding aspect. There's also an aspect of IDIQ where you can award multiple contracts initially, and then have on-ramps and off-ramps to contractors that perform or don't perform well. So that's something we may continue to follow, but we want to open up this door for innovation, for fairness, transparency, and yet have a cost-effective delivery of these projects. So.